Hey tubes, Jonathan Wrong here, Truth and Budget. So, this video is specifically for Irene. So I'm gonna address each question one at a time. So the first question is gravity. Now I'm gonna pose you a question. How can the same force that holds down the ocean and holds the moon so perfectly still that it doesn't rotate not crush us? All right? And let me explain what gravity is. It's buoyancy. Some things are denser. That's up, that's down. These keys are denser than the air, so they fall. That is all. The whole gravitational thing doesn't make sense, and if you look into it, they can't explain what it is. All right. As far as the universe, we're self-contained. The Earth is a disk. I'm going to use this Tupperware. Okay. The Earth is a flat disk. That's why when you circumnavigate, you just go you're going in a circle. Above us is the firmament. It cannot be breached. Above the firmament is heaven. It's a self-contained system. The outer walls are Antarctica. It's not a continent. That's why when they take satellite photos, there's a hole in the middle, because it's actually around us. Okay, moving on. NASA, all BS, 100%. Like I said, no one goes to space because there is no space. Space is an impossible thing. Even if you were somehow able to escape whatever's holding the air in and holding everything together and all the gravitational force, if you were able to escape those things, once you got into space, you wouldn't be able to control yourself, because you can't generate thrust or combustion within a vacuum. You can't push off of nothing. So any sort of space travel physically would be impossible. Now, as far as logistically, if you're traveling millions of miles and you're leaving from a spinning object that's spinning around other objects that's moving, and you're going towards another object, and you have to calculate all this, if you're off by that much on takeoff, you're going to be off by an insane amount. And you won't be able to know where you are, because there's no landmarks. There's no way to you can't triangulate where you are, because everything's moving. So space travel is physically impossible, and it is logistically impossible. So there's no space at all. Above us is heaven. If you look at the stars, they move in a circle. If you do time lapse, they move in a perfect circle. If everything was billions of years old, and we have cave paintings that are, thousands of years old, some say 20,000, I doubt it. But anyway, the stars would have moved. If everything's rotating, if everything's spinning, if everything's expanding, the stars wouldn't be in the exact same place as they are. Moving on. No. Do I think other planets exist? No, they're lights in the sky. That's it. It's all in the Bible. The sky. Everything in the sky is for light and to mark the passings of time and seasons. It's so we can have a measurement and know what's going on. That is all. They're not the stars aren't tiny suns. They aren't balls of hydrogen having constant nuclear explosions. Okay, look at the NASA stuff where it shows, coronal mass ejections where the sun's like this big and the mass ejection is like, 3 times the length of the sun. Have you ever seen a coronal mass ejection in the sky? No, because they don't exist. It doesn't happen. It's all BS. Let's see. Have I looked through the planets through a telescope myself? No. Have I seen footage from reliable sources? Yes. I myself can't afford a Nikon P900, as I can't afford many things, But yeah, I've seen tons of footage from sources I would trust far more than NASA, and all their footage looks the same. Whereas everything from NASA or the Chinese space program or the Russian space anything, they all look different. Nothing looks the same, and it all looks like CG. Whereas the amateur astronomer footage looks it doesn't it it looks like electromagnetism and with it like reacting within a bubble, because above us is supposed to be water. There's it's written in a Genesis. God separated the waters above from the waters below with a firmament. It's in the Bible. I mean, what is the firmament to you? Is so heaven is space, or is it all like theoretical? Like the Bible's literal. Everything in it is literal. To think otherwise, I don't know what you're reading. Okay, let's see. Okay, the eclipse. How can you explain the eclipse? Okay? I love the eclipse question because the eclipse thing is one of the stupidest part of the whole model. Okay, so supposedly the sun and the moon are at such a perfect distance from each other that the moon perfectly blots out the sun. Now, here's the thing that's important and should have massive like red flags like, hey, wait a minute. All right, so let me try to set this up. This is your last question, so I can put the phone away. Let's see if I can prop up the tablet somehow. Sorry. Okay. Let me grab a few things. Okay. Hope you can hear me. So here's the sun. Okay? Here's the Earth. Obviously, this is not to scale, but general size. So here's the moon. Okay? All right. See it? How is this blocking the light from that so that all of this goes dark? That was my fan. So, yeah. What do you think? You think this is going to block all the light from that? I don't. Now, as far as the sun's rays go, you can see them coming through the clouds at an angle. It's localized. You can see hot spots on the clouds. It's localized. Were the sun millions of miles away, the light would be coming down at straight angles from everywhere. It doesn't. You can see it coming down at angles. Now, oh gosh. Not fully prepared. Not prepared! Alright, so. There you go. See that? Does that look familiar? That's the sun. That's the angles. Using the Pythagorean theorem, you could calculate how far the sun is away from the angles. Okay? That's why they use that symbol. It's truth in plain sight, and they're mocking us. Now, once again, the moon. The moon's light can be measured, other than the fact that you can see the moon during the day. Now they tell us that the moon's light is the sun's light. Okay, so the sun's here. Here's the moon. So you're telling me that the sun's light is reflecting off the Earth, back onto the moon, and then that light is reflecting back onto the Earth, strong enough that you can see it past the sunlight? That doesn't add up. Other than the fact that you can see the dark part of the moon during the day. Now, if we're only seeing the moon because it's reflecting the sun's light, how are you seeing the dark part of the moon? Doesn't add up. And the reason why the eclipse happens is because they're not far away from us. They are. Oh, what happened to it? The sun and the moon are inside the firmament. All right? They're not that far away. So when they block each other out, it's because they're literally right next to each other. It wouldn't work any other way. It's just impossible. It doesn't add up. How is this blocking all the light from this? How? No amount of distance is going to change the fact that this is pumping out light in all directions. So would the stars. You know, we're seeing a laser beam from the stars? No. Were the stars suns, they'd be putting out light in all directions. It's three-dimensional, right? So the whole night sky would be lit up. It doesn't add up. None of it adds up. Under basic scrutiny. Now, you honestly didn't ask any deep questions. No offense. As soon as I said that, I realized that came out kind of rude. But you know, I don't understand how you're adamant on these things, and those are your hot button topics. How about where did all the water come from? Under their model, they say that the Earth got, while still molten and not having an atmosphere, got hit with so many icy comets that all the water, which is 80% of the Earth or something, all of the water came from comets, and somehow the water stayed and didn't evaporate even though we didn't have an atmosphere. And the water comes from the ground. It clearly comes up from the ground. Everywhere it comes up from the ground. How do you account from that? When it rains for days and things flood, how do you account for that if it's the same water? If water is evaporating from the ground to the sky and then staying within clouds and then coming down in rain, if it rained for several days, that water would have to come from the ground and would dry everything out. So everything would dry out, then it would rain for days and go back to normal. That's not what happens. All of a sudden it just rains, and sometimes it rains for longer than other times, and sometimes things get too much water. Were it all the same water, that wouldn't happen. It's impossible. Other than the fact that when it rains for days, that means those clouds would have to be full of tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of water. We're talking, 15 feet over the course of hundreds of square miles? Do you know how much that weighs? Go fill a bucket with water, okay? Then suspend it in the air and see how long it stays there. All right? Impossible. Basic physics. None of their models make sense. None of their explanations are there, and if they are there, they don't make sense. None of it adds up at all. We live in a self-contained, perfect system. There's no evolution. How do you explain evolution? There isn't now, nor has there ever been any evidence of any transitional species anywhere. There's nothing between us and chimpanzees. People might say, well, there's Neanderthal. Why would we de-evolve? Neanderthal were better than us in every single way. They were taller, stronger, had larger brains. Let me explain to you what Neanderthal was, all right? You need to read your Bible. When a man continues to age, his brow continues to grow, okay? Those were the men of old that lived for a very long time, lived for 800, 900 years. Those are the men of old. That's why they're bigger, that's why they're stronger, that's why they're better, that's why they have big brows. Why would we de-evolve if you believe in evolution? Why would we stop having fur? Why would we not have claws? Why would we not have tails still? Why did we lose all these things that would, probably be a benefit? Because we're designed in God's image. He designed us in the image of himself and his high angels. Okay? We're not a monkey. Learn some biology. Okay, a monkey's ribcage is at an angle. Their skull is completely different. They have muscles that wrap up around the skull. Then it reaches in a ridge. We don't have any of those traits. What, we have hands and feet? So what? That doesn't mean we're the same. That's insane. There's other than fact that our cells are so perfect that if anything is wrong with them, that baby doesn't grow. If your cell doesn't take in one specific type of protein, you're dead. Okay? If things were happening randomly, there'd be deaths everywhere. Other than the fact that the first creature to develop a weapon would be the dominant species because they just kill everything else. You know, other than the fact that there would have to be these like truce periods where it's like, hey, I'm developing wings, you're developing venom, he's developing claws. Let's just all leave each other alone and not leave any friggin' bones or anything anywhere. Doesn't add up. Okay, you talking trillions of years? No. Are you kidding me? Or what, billions? It doesn't matter. They'll say any high number because it's so astronomical people can't wrap their heads around it. Okay? You see, trillions of miles on a piece of paper and you're like, yeah, trillions of miles. Can you really wrap your head around trillions of miles? Can you really wrap your head around billions of years? Look at human history, how much has changed within the last 500 years. 500. You're telling me stuff has been around for billions of years? No. Doesn't add up. None of it adds up. It's like saying 1 million monkeys and 1 million typewriters over the course of 1 million years can write Shakespeare. That's what you're saying. All right? And you know the joke about that? We're the monkeys and Shakespeare is Francis effing Bacon. That's the joke. Everything's a joke. Why would NASA not lie? Why would a worldwide group that is in cahoots with every other military and air force and every other government and fully connected be honest with us? And Irene, in all the footage you've seen from NASA when they have the going over the globe and all this other stuff, where's the 50,000 satellites? Where are the stars? Where's any good picture from the moon to the earth? Because every time I've seen a picture from the moon to the earth, the earth is this big, okay? Now, let's go in reverse here. If this is the moon and this is the earth, okay? If you're taking a picture from here, this is going to be most of the sky. All right? It never is. I'm running out of time here, but seriously, I answered all your questions. Show me some evidence of curvature or movement. There's a bridge in China that's like 113 miles long. Guess what? It's flat. There should be a 8-inch degrade every like square mile. All right? There would be a 70-foot dip. There's those salt flats in a Bolivia. When it rains, it's hundreds of square miles large. When it rains, it creates a perfectly flat mirror. How would that exist on a globe? Other than the fact that Neil deGrasse Tyson says it's pear-shaped, and all the pictures from NASA show a sphere. I'm running out of time. Anyway, what do you think? I love you, kiddo. Everyone have a beautiful night. And God bless you.